Good morning. Welcome to Mornings with Megs. Welcome to a new Monday, a new week. We love it. I have a super exciting episode for you guys today. We are talking about money. And if I had a commercial license, um I would be playing Money, Money, Money by ABBA because that's a vibe. Or Billionaire by Travis McCoy and Bruno Mars because that is also a vibe. All right, let me tell you what I've got coming up this morning. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the energy behind money. Okay, so we have a very special guest coming up, Joel Gibson. He's going to give us he's named the Australia's #1 bill buster. Okay, so he's going to give us some tips, tricks, and advice on end of financial year and how to maximize all of the things, as well as ways that he has cut down bills, how you can cut down bills. So that is going to be awesome. So before we get into that, I wanted to talk a little bit about the energy of money, like the trap that you find yourself in, especially when it comes to buying for end of financial year. Okay. Because it's like Black Friday. Like Black Friday was on steroids last year, and I feel like end of financial year is in a similar spot this year. So we're going to make sure that we're buying because we need to and not because we are like, oh my God, we're going to miss out on all of the things if I don't buy this thing immediately. Okay. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about today is your relationship with money, because I kind of worked through this and it was a bit of a game changer actually for me. So I'm excited to talk you through what I did to um not heal, well, yes, heal my relationship with money, but also transform my relationship with money so that instead of fearing money, instead of just like needing money, I was just like, you know what? I love money. And if money wants to come to me, then that's amazing. And if not, what am I doing to prevent that? Because like we're our own blockers, right? Okay. So let's start with my first topic of the morning. Money is energy, but you can't affirm your way rich. Okay. And what do I mean by that? Now, I have to I have to preface this by saying that I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not somebody to listen to when it comes to money. What in terms of like the 3D money, I am somebody, I feel like I've got a lot of experience talking about the energetics of money and things that I've done to call more money into my life. However, I have to say that because this is not financial advice. This is just your gal Megs chatting away to you about money. Okay, so you've probably heard that saying a lot. So money is energy, which is true. But I just kind of wanted to give my like way of sort of 3Ding it a little bit, because being such a visual person, when somebody says to me like money is energy, I like don't actually know what that means. So I'm going to explain that a little bit in terms of like putting it on your vision board, but also like working with it so that you feel like you are working with it, not for it or because of it or around it or whatever. Because money obviously is an important thing in our lives, and however it can control our lives a lot as well. So I'm going to help you kind of like release that grip that it has on you. This was a massive, massive game changer for me. So I want to kind of debunk, I guess, previous myths or things that I've heard about money and about manifesting money and all of those things. Okay. All right, let's get into it. So, money is energy. Okay. You've probably heard that a lot. I know I have. But what does that actually mean? Okay. If you're trying to like non woo woo, what that actually means is I like to liken it. And I think because as I was prepping for this show over the weekend and I was also watching Love Island USA, I know, tragic, but we had a restful weekend. So what money is basically energy, is how you feel about money is how effectively it's going to feel about you. So for example, and why I liken this to Love Island is because I see these girls or these boys absolutely losing their minds over their particular person. And it is like super needy energy. And it's just like, oh my God, I need you. I need you. I'm not okay without you. Oh my, like all like, and you may recognize this in your personal life that you have been like this previously. And it's just like, oh my God, I can't live without you. Like, what if you leave me? Like, and it's like that real, like every time I even like talk like that, I feel like I'm just trying to like grab onto something and like not let go. Okay. Money is the same. So if every time money comes in, you feel a type of way about it and it's not like, oh my God, there's so much more where that came from. Okay. And it's easier said than done. I understand that. So the reframe, I guess, on the way that I kind of what I've done, because obviously, again, having affirmations like I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire is tricky to kind of go through when you're like you look in your bank account and maybe there isn't those 6 zeros sitting in there. Okay. So again, the difference between what I'm telling you is really like more of a chilled vibe as opposed to like forcing. I feel like some of these affirmations are. So if you like have to affirm so hard to like convince yourself, it's literally doing the opposite of what you're trying to achieve. Okay. So what do or what I've done, and this is of all of the teachings that I've I guess absorbed and all of the learning that I've done over the last few years and the things that I've found that work the best for me. Okay. So it's been two things. It's one, picture or kind of envisage or whatever money like it is a partner. Okay. So if you think about any kind of dealings you have with money, i.e., every time you see it come into your bank account, how do you feel? When you see it come out of your bank account, how do you feel? Right. And all of these kind of emotions about it, it's really easy to get stressed when you have more money coming out than coming in. Okay. Or going out, I should say, than coming in. However, the way that I look at it now is if I just trust that there is more money coming back in, okay, the money going out affects me a lot less. Now, that's the one of like, I guess the top tips, but then I found that that's too surface level for people. Okay, so then I just like do it a little bit deeper. So let's talk a little bit deeper. So if you imagine money coming in like you would somebody in your life, and it doesn't have to be a partner, it can be a best friend, it can be whatever, and you think, yay, I love you when you come in. Oh my God, yes, like I'm, yay, amazing. Oh my God, finally, like, and it's this real like needy energy. And then when it comes out, you're like, oh no, like you're leaving, like, oh my God, no, like I can't part with this. I can't, like, and you immediately like you feel it feels really, really closed off. So if you imagine being like that with a partner or somebody in your life, it's not going to make it want to come back in, pretty easily. And also, 95% of this is unconscious too. Okay. So the other thing as well is obviously rewiring your beliefs around money is a lot more on the unconscious than it is in the reality in our 5% of our conscious brain. So I guess that's why I find that affirmations don't work like they used to. So it's not like an affirmation's like, I am rich, I am abundant, money flows to, like all of these things that you say to yourself, right? I feel like it's almost like belting your head against a wall and you're like, I am rich, I am a millionaire, and it's that, yeah, like I said, you look in your bank account and you're like, ugh, like it's really hard to sort of convince yourself of that when you're not. So the other tip that I like to do as well when I'm maybe not feeling as abundant as I would like to is I look at other people's wealth and I realize that if they can do that, then I can do that as well. So there's a couple of people that I follow on Instagram specifically for this, and the way that their life looks on Instagram, regardless of whether it's 100% it or not. Okay, I get it. We all have different, versions of what we want our life to look like. And not everything you see on social media is real, but the lens I choose to view it from is like, it's more of a feeling. It's like these beautiful open spaces in these homes. It's the beautiful luxury car that they walk out to. And it's funny because I have like a car in my driveway that a lot of them drive. And I look at my car now and I think to myself, wow, am I actually somebody who's acting like somebody who has a car like that? And it's not, because my poor car right now is sitting in there and she is just filthy and I haven't washed her in forever. And I just feel like my energy towards something that beautiful is just like not it. So if I can't treat a car like that well, like why would the next version of that come in, i.e. my Lambo, the next car I'm manifesting? So you can probably see kind of all of the, I guess, the things around this. And I guess the thing with this too is to not avoid. So obviously we have bills that come in, we have money that comes in, we have money that goes out. Okay. It's just like the way of life. And if you can get your mind on board with the more that goes out, the more that comes in. Okay. That's a good one. And then the other thing to do as well is look around you and literally see, no matter where you are right now, no matter your circumstances right now, how much money you actually have around you. So, you know, if you're living in a house, if you're driving a car, if you have a phone in your hand, if you have a computer, if you have, you know, you start to see really quickly how all of these things add up. So all our conscious brain is doing is looking for evidence of what we're saying to it. Okay. So if you can prove it to it, by like, well, look at my office, right? I may not feel super abundant right now, but I've got a very expensive laptop. I've got an expensive mic set up. I've got an iPad here. I've got my phone. You know, I've got another monitor over there. I've got another phone over there. You know, all of these things, it adds up really, really quickly. So it's really easy to start feeling abundant in that moment because you're just like, shit, there is literally money all around me. Okay. So that's one thing that I guess really helped me sort of reframe when I started feeling a type of way about money. I would just be look around. I would just be like, oh my God, money, money, money. And the other thing that's really fun, like a really, really fun place to do it. And this is like, and I call this a life hack because this is just like when I changed my thought process around being in spaces like this, like a lot changed for me. So I would go and sit in the most expensive hotel lobby I could find in whatever city I was in at the time. Or even like a golf club or something where there is like a lot of perceived wealth. Okay. You literally, like, you can just go and hang out in these lobbies. And you hang out in these lobbies, and I took my computer with me. So I literally, I wasn't doing any work. I was literally just noting down the way that I like conversations I heard, like tidbits from people with a lot of money that I heard speaking about, and like the way that they spoke about things and what they were talking about. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, no worries. So you can literally sit there and be absorbed and surrounded by millions of dollars of either net worth, but then also you feel kind of like bougie because you're like sitting in this really fancy hotel lobby. And I tell you, when you sit in that energy, you are like a magnet for cool shit. So you literally can manifest things so quickly sitting in that space because you are literally with no, because if you were staying there, for example, it's not probably the same because you would be like, well, I've paid $600 a night to be at this, you know, hotel and, you know, all of those things you don't have because you're literally in there. Okay. Haven't spent a cent to be in there besides like, I guess, whatever it costs you to drive there in fuel. Didn't spend a cent to be in there. And you were just surrounded by all of this wealth. Okay. So that is one thing I love to do as well. And I haven't done it for such a long time. And I am going to do it again because it's just like really, really vibey. Okay. So just remember that when you're feeling this type of way about money, your brain is just looking for evidence that that is true. And also, this is like going deeper into kind of mindset stuff and your subconscious. So if this is a bit woo, just bear with me because I promise you, once you understand this, it'll actually change your life. You're basically battling your unconscious mind if you don't understand it. And there's a really cool Napoleon Hill quote. I'll have to come back to you on this one. I can't actually remember who it was by. But basically it says, until you make your unconscious conscious, your life will happen for you and you'll call it fate. Okay. Meaning that if you don't know what you're up against in terms of the beliefs you hold, and again, this shit comes from childhood, from like past lives, from everything. So I want you to like have a bit of a think about some of the things from when you were 0 to 7 that your parents said about money. Okay. Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are horrible. You know, I've blocked a lot of these out. So like my brain is actually really struggling even think of any of them. But yeah, just think about in your household how money was perceived. Was it perceived as a resource that you could do infinite things with, or was it perceived of like we don't have enough, or like how, because that there is what you have bought, whether you realize it or not, is what you've bought in to your adult life. Okay. So whatever beliefs you held as a kid about money, okay, like is literally how your brain is processing money now. So if you think about it, and again, remember, I spoke a lot about this on Friday, a lot about this last week, actually. It must have been a bit of a theme that, and sorry if you can hear that growling, my cats are fighting, and then they're hissing. Apologies. Love them. So yeah, whatever you heard or whatever you experienced or whatever from 0 to 7 is basically what our little baby minds and our primitive minds are, I guess, broadcasting out to the world now. Okay. So let me give you an example. If you were told that rich people are evil or something negative about people who had money, you're got your brain doubly working against you. Okay. So first of all, it is like, well, I don't want to be, I'm not a bad person. Like, I'm a good person. I love people. I'm good to people in my life. Right. So you have this narrative playing around, and automatically your brain's like, well, if you that believe that to be true and only bad people have money, and you believe that you're not a bad person, you're not going to have money. Okay. It's really, really simple when you like break it down. And the other thing too is, okay, maybe you've gotten past that hurdle. You've worked that limiting belief through, and you're like, okay, cool. Like, that's all good. Now, the second thing you're going to be up against is, again, our reptilian brains that process and that basically say, if you're not part of a tribe, then you're dead. Okay. I.e., if people think you're a bad person because you've got money, outcast you will become. And it's true. Like, you truly will be treated differently when you have money versus when you don't have money. I've experienced it myself. And then if you perceive that to be a threat, or if you perceive that to be some type of negative way, okay, trust me, it is very, very easy for your brain to block it and your subconscious mind to block any kind of wealth coming on in for you, because it's like, well, no, that's really scary and that feels really icky and that feels like absolutely not. Okay. So do as much as you can to prove to your brain that money is safe, money is amazing. You're not going to be a social outcast. And if you are, they maybe aren't your people. Okay. There's all of these things that I could literally crap on about forever. Like, it is just my favorite topic to talk about because I've just seen such a change. So, as like my childhood, for example, so none of my family are business owners that I know of. I'm pretty sure. So I didn't really have an example to model. Okay. And money in my household growing up, okay, wasn't super abundant. We sort of lived in quite a bit of scarcity. And my mum and my dad had to work. Well, they worked so hard. Okay. So this is my like little childhood brain and how I processed it all. So, mum worked 2 jobs for ages, and, because she worked split shifts at the time. So, we didn't like never saw her. So she was like working hard on money. And then in terms of like what my kid brain put that together is like, well, I don't want to like work as hard as my mum did. Like, the woman's like elite. She's on like another level. Okay. I don't want to work that hard for money to come in. But that is just what I perceived. And then my dad worked a lot when I was a kid too. So I had another thought or belief that I have to go away to make money. I have to like be gone and miss people in order to make money. Okay. So it's all of these things that you just don't think about in your adulthood until you kind of look back and you think, shit, like that is how I thought about that as a kid. Like, it's just wow. And again, because you form all of your beliefs and your thoughts from 0 to 7. Okay. So you literally spend 0 to 7 like a little sponge around all of these people. Okay. And you're like getting all of the knowledge and all of the life experiences and all of the whatever. And then you literally spend your whole freaking adulthood like unlearning all of it or reteaching things that are a little bit more helpful to believe in. And I see it in the people that I'm around now. Okay. And, again, they don't know any different. So this is not a criticism. This is not even feedback. Okay. But I really struggle to, and I'm going to be a little bit mindful about what I say. I struggle for the kids in my life to hear things like, we can't afford that, or we don't have enough money for that, or I don't have any money this week. Okay. If you think about what you know now from what I've just told you about the unconscious mind from 0 to 7, okay, I've absorbed that as a belief as a kid, right? So in my adulthood, okay, that is literally going to be my default setting is, oh no, I don't have enough money for that. Oh no, like I can't do that. And it's the same deal because we've gotten so good at trading time for money. Okay. You have to work really hard to have money. And we judge people that do have money. Okay. I get judged all the time before my car. It's actually wild to me that this still happens. And people perceive that I have a high net wealth or I've got a lot of money because of the car that I drive. And it's just not the case. Like, if you're a business owner, you will know, okay, I bought that car when I was on a very, very comfortable wage working for a tech company, and got a car allowance. Okay. So it's easy to have these things and to get these things when you have those support systems. But now, obviously, I'm a business owner. I don't pay myself a car allowance. Okay. I literally am not stuck. It's not the right. See, I'm even mindful now about the language I put out there. Okay. I still have this beautiful, beautiful car. I love my car so much and I manifested her. And I truly believe that I am going to continue to hold the frequency of somebody who drives a Porsche. And yeah, she is just the love of my life. Okay. Do I treat her that way? No, I don't. Okay. So this is a very good timely reminder, even for somebody, like even for myself, to be like, your behavior is not matching your thoughts. Okay. Because it's thoughts and it's action. And therefore, right, you need to check yourself. Okay. Because I'm not in alignment right now. So when you have a business, and if you are listening to this and you're thinking of starting a business, okay, my biggest piece of advice is to work on this shit first, okay? When I tell you that I created my business or my business manifested, like however you want to kind of think about the businesses that I've got now, okay? When I tell you, right, it is not from learning about business that I've created this quote unquote success. Okay. It is not from a business book. It is not from business teaching. It is not from anything like remotely close to that as to why my businesses are in the shape that they are in today. Okay. I probably dedicate my business success and the success I've experienced in business to my relationships. Okay. And also my energy levels, because I didn't really acquire customers or new clients by marketing and advertising. Okay. My new clients came from referrals. Okay. So how do you get referrals? Okay. You have to be good at what you're doing. Okay. Or you have to be doing things differently, or you have to have a fresh perspective, right? There's lots of different things that you can do. But secondly, I had such good relationships with all of my current clients, and I still have such good relationships with my clients that, like, we want to work with her. So when I'm, rolling around the pit lane and I am laughing and I'm smiling and I'm just being myself, that is the frequency in which people are like, you know what, she's such a vibe. I want to be around her. And that is something that I am truly grateful for in my attitude and as much as I guess I'm good at faking it sometimes too, because I always want to be perceived as that. So it's really obvious when I'm not okay. And it's really, really obvious when I'm like not living my happiest vibe, which I don't love. But yeah, I can't be disingenuous when it comes to my reactions to things, or like, because my face, like I've said before, it gives it all away. Okay. So if you think about the things that you have in your life and the things that you want in your life, and all you get to do is look at people that have the things that you want, do not look at the people that don't have things that you want and take their criticism, their feedback, or anything they have to say on board. Okay. And literally just soak in the abundance, because there is an about, like, literally there is a thing that prints money. Okay. Money is literally like, you can print the stuff. Okay. And if the coaching industry has taught us anything, is that you literally can create something out of nothing, as long as you've got something that is going to help somebody. Okay. Now, I actually thought of this the other day, and this just came into my mind now, because I feel like in the world of coaching, there is some really cool shit that is just not out there for public information. Okay. If you are somebody who did a course or coaching or something like that on the best way to pack a suitcase, I would pay you money. Okay. Let me tell you why. I'm terrible at packing. Okay. And I'm okay saying that out loud, because it is what it is. The amount of times I have paid for overweight luggage when I've traveled, I would already be saving money if I paid somebody $500 for a course on how to pack. Okay. And I feel like, as somebody who travels as much as I do, it's actually a skill that I would like to acquire, because it would actually benefit me in my life. Okay. So if you think that the skills that you have cannot be monetized, like, I truly, truly hope that you listen to this and you're like, okay, no, actually, I've got some skills. Okay. And it literally can be like, think of like the stuff that we watch on social media. I've literally binge watch people braiding their hair. And I watch tutorials about that all the time, because I would love to be able to braid my hair like that. Okay. We watch people doing crafts. We watch people making candles, baking cakes. Like, all of this trending content on social media, right, is literally somebody just doing what they love, which is wild, like absolutely wild. So I hope that you can see that, like, what I'm trying to say is that there's absolutely infinite possibilities and potentials and infinite cool shit that you can do with your life and have and be and all of the things. Okay. And you just have to train your brain and rewire your brain to see those possibilities. So if you take one thing from my energetics part of this episode, I would love for you to take that. And I would love for you just take a bit of a stock about, what is the last thing you told yourself about money? What is the last thing you thought about when you were thinking about your bank account? Okay. Like, that to me is going to tell you more than anything, because if you sat there and you looked at your bank account and you immediately felt dread and all these things, right? That's how you feel about money. So again, put a person on the other side of that bank balance. Okay. Imagine, right? I check my bank account and I feel like, and I check you, or I check in with you, and I instantly feel dread. I feel guilt. I feel all of these things. Like, how awful is that? Okay. That wouldn't make you feel very good about that person. That wouldn't want to make you be around me at all. Because you would be like, well, every time you think about me, or every time you look at me, or every time whatever, you just think like, oh my God, no, like that. Or you avoid me altogether. Okay. Avoidance is a big one when it comes to money, because it's easier just not to check that old bank balance and just hope for the best when we get to the checkout and our card's going to go through and we're not going to get that awful decline because of insufficient funds, shit pop up. Okay. Right. So it's just, I just want you to understand that, like, when I, when this became aware, like, clear to me, or when I was made aware of this, like, the shifts that happened was just absolutely unbelievable. And it's fun now because I get to talk about it with my parents, like, more so my mum. I can talk about it with her. Like, we can literally go through and she can recognize the things that I've undone now in my adulthood, okay, because of what I've done in terms of rewiring my money beliefs. Okay. And again, like, this is another real good one. Just while we wait for Joel to jump on, this is another one that actually changed my relationship with money and probably my bank account balance as well, is when you go and look at the transactions that you've made, okay, over the weekend or during, like, it doesn't over the weekend, like you can, okay, if you get a chance to read Get Rich Like You Bitch, I'll put the link. Actually, do you know what? I'll put it on my social media, okay? Because she is unbelievable. Okay. She literally tells you about the frequency, that your thoughts about money. So it's being grateful for bills, it's being grateful for all of these things, okay? Which is really, really cool because you actually learn to be like, oh my God, I'm so grateful for that. Like, oh my God, I'm so grateful for this next part. Okay. Oh my God, I'm so grateful for all these things. Okay. So it gets to be really, 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 really cool. So we've talked some woo woo about money. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to speak to an expert about money. I'm so excited. Now, this is absolutely timely as we come into the end of financial year. So Joel Gibson is about to jump on and join me, okay? And he is the Australia's #1 bill buster, okay? I don't know about you guys, but I would absolutely love to bust some bills. And what we're going to be talking about is this like end of financial year thing, okay, in us. And it's like I said, similar to Black Friday and similar to all these things where we're like, holy shit, I need to spend some money because it's the best thing for me to do right now. Okay. So, and if I don't buy the thing now, like, it's not going to be there at that sale price again, and again it's the scarcity, and again it's all of the things. Okay, so we're going to speak to somebody who is actually an expert in this space, and I'm so excited. I have all of the questions, and I also have some questions from Instagram. Good morning, Joel. How are you?
Good morning. How are you? I'm good. It's a bit rainy out here, but there are worse
Beautiful
places
time
to
of the
be.
morning, right?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
love it. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. It's great to have you on. I've done a heap of teasing about what we're going to be talking about. So I've talked you up. So we're excited about that.
I'll do my best to deliver on a Monday morning.
I love it. Okay, so first of all, I would love for you just to talk through and just let everybody know who you are, what you do, because I've called you Australia's #1 bill buster. So we want to hear a lot more about that.
Well, it's a big call. Basically, I have spent the last 15 years trying to help people to save on their household bills. So my background is as a journalist. I was a newspaper journalist for 10 years, and then I left and I got into this money saving space, and I kind of learnt it on the job. I was pretty hopeless with money until about the age of 30. And then through, trying to help people, working for a company that helped people initially, and then kind of going out on my own and doing a range of different media and actually, still working in a range of different businesses that help people to save money. I've learned all the little tricks of the trade when it comes to getting the most out of your relationships with your utility providers, your insurance providers, your supermarket and your petrol station, because they're just businesses as well. And once you understand how they work and what they do to try and extract as much money from you as possible, you can sort of flip those strategies on them and try and get as much as possible out of them for as little as possible. So that's the idea.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So let's dive into the juicy stuff then. So obviously everything is end of financial year, everything right now, right? So it is, I feel like even in my mind, I'm like, I better buy that now because like, what if it doesn't come on sale for this price reduction again? And it's all of the psychology of this, right? So talk us through how you help people with that and literally give us all the goss and how we beat and block out these, financial year text messages, EDMs, Facebook posts, bloody mail deliveries, everything.
Yeah, it's raining EOFY, isn't it?
It
EOFY.
is.
Everywhere you look, you just can't avoid it. And well, one of the strategies they use is that one FOMO that you just mentioned. What if I don't buy it now? Am I going to miss out? Is it going to be this cheap again? Well, if there's one thing we've learned in recent years, it's that there's always another sale coming, right? There's a couple of really big sale events a year, end of financial year, Black Friday leading into Christmas. And then there's all these kind of medium-sized sale events in between them. So, one thing about sales is if you miss that one and you wait 5 minutes, there'll be another one along. They're like buses, right? Although they probably come more often than buses these days. But yeah, don't freak out. But I think it is a great time and an opportunity if you've got stuff you need to buy anyway. It might be work-related purchases, ideally, because you can claim those on tax if you buy them in the next couple of days and keep a receipt. But it could be anything. It could be toilet paper or homewares for around the house, or it's just something that you're going to have to buy anyway. And maybe you would have bought it in July, maybe you would have bought it in August. But if you can get it 30% off this month, then absolutely take advantage of these sales, make the most of them. Don't fall into the trap, which is what they want you to do, of walking into the online store to buy a box of toilet paper or something, and then walking out with a foot bath and a whole basket full of stuff that you really didn't need, but which you thought you were getting is worth buying because it was 30% off. Because there's an old saying, if it's 50% off and you didn't need it, you haven't saved 50%, you've actually wasted 50%. So you need to keep that in mind. That is the game they're playing, and the game you're playing is to try and get everything you were going to buy anyway at heavy discount, and then walk out of there with a smile on your face.
I like it. I feel like you just summed up like most of my transactional purchases in the last week. And what I find true and what I love, okay, so a lot of like small business owners we've got as part of our audience, and I want to help small businesses as much as possible because I feel like we are the people that probably get targeted with, not enough knowledge around what tax deductible actually means. Because full disclosure, when I started my business, okay, I was one of those memes that were like, it's a tax deduction. Okay. I can deduct this on my tax. Like I'm going to get this money back. And it wasn't until I actually realized what the hell that meant that I was like, what do you mean I only get 30% back max? Like, what the shit is this?
Yeah, look, I'm not an accountant, but I think that's one of the most valuable lessons you can learn when it comes to tax deductibility is don't buy it because it's tax deductible. Buy it because you need to buy it, and if you can tax deduct it, then fantastic, even better, because you'll get a little bit of that back, but certainly not the whole amount. And a lot of people, it is really hard to know what you can and can't claim. There is a little bit of guidance online. The ATO website, for example, for particular professions and industries, has sort of some detailed lists of what you can and can't claim. There's some really interesting stuff on there, like you can claim a working dog or horse, if you're obviously a farmer, but also if you're a security professional, you might be able to claim the expenses of keeping your dog, not of purchasing the dog, but of depreciation and of maintaining, feeding and looking after the dog. So there are different industries that have sort of quite distinctive things they can claim. If you work in an aeroplane as flight crew, you can claim conditioner and moisturizer because the cabin dries out your skin and your hair. So it is worth looking into the specific things you might be able to claim in your industry, because they do differ from industry to industry. But generally speaking, they're pretty strict. They won't let you claim clothing most of the time. You can only claim transport when you're driving from one job to another, not necessarily from home to work. So yeah, they're pretty stingy, the ATO, unfortunately. There's not a lot of loopholes to leap through.
Yeah, and I think that's a good that's a really good shout. We might pop that link in the show notes as well, to check all of that out. Because if you're cabin crew, my God, you're living your best bloody life, being able to claim some of your some of the expenses. But again, see, it's like ingrained in my brain that I'm like, cool. And it's funny because and we're not talking about accounting stuff here, but the kind of thought process of like, oh, I might as well just get a new laptop this year because I can claim it on my tax, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with the one that I've got. So it's like we're unwiring, I feel like, all of the old school beliefs of what being, I guess, tax time is. So we're going to undo all of that. So let's talk about this week, right? So this week is, as we said, end of financial year. We've got end of financial year coming out of our ears. I would love for you to talk through the audience just about what to do this week. Okay, what are we focusing on this week that's really going to move the needle in our finances? And I guess what's your biggest piece of advice when we're literally talking about like your power, your insurance, your rent, all of the things, looking at reviewing that you have personally, as the bills buster, save lots of money on?
Okay, so with the end of financial year checklist, obviously, as we've just discussed, there's a couple of days left of these sales. So if there is anything that's on your list and you want to sort of have a list, don't browse aimlessly because that's dangerous, as we've discussed. Have a very clear list about what you're going to get. What I do is to avoid browsing, if I know that I need, earbuds, for example, which I just bought this week because my old ones are broken, I'll go to one of the review sites and see which ones they think are best at my budget level that I want to buy at. And then I'll search for the best price for that product rather than just browsing, what Bluetooth earbuds, you can spend all day browsing Bluetooth earbuds. And so then I'll use AI tools like Zift, where I'm a brand ambassador, to find the cheapest price on that product, and then I'll pounce, and that's it. And that way I've minimized the time spent, minimized the browsing, but maximized the saving I can get on the particular product that I need. So that's the way I go about approaching those sales. And then there's also a bunch of end of financial year deadlines that are worth keeping in mind for other bills as well. Because, for example, if you were thinking of taking out health insurance, it really pays to do it by the end of financial year in a couple of different circumstances. Like if you're earning, for example, around $101,000 as a single or double that as a couple, there's a tax that kicks in where if you don't have a private health insurance policy by 30 June, you pay extra tax called the Medicare levy surcharge. And so 30 June is a cutoff for taking out health insurance if you're one of those sort of people earning to 101,000 this year, it's going up to 105,000 next year. So it changes slightly each year. But there's also, a deadline around June 30 when it comes to that, for example. There's a bunch of different, government sort of rebates and benefits and stuff that sort of have a 30 June deadline as well. If you're getting the family tax benefit, for example, if you got it last year, you've got till 30 June to report your income. And that's quite important because if you don't do that, you could lose the family tax benefit. And also that applies to the childcare subsidy as well. So it's a reporting deadline for some really crucial federal government payments. So that should be on your end of financial year checklist too. And also this is the time of the year when energy bills go up. So most people around the country would have got a letter from their energy provider in the last month or so. And probably told you that your rates are either going up or down. There's a real mixed bag this year. So you need to know what's happening with your plan. And if it's going up or it's not going down by enough, well then after July 1, you need to find a cheaper plan because sometimes they're, $300, $400 cheaper. And that is one of the easiest bills of all to switch over. It can take, 5-10 minutes if you want to find a cheaper energy plan to save sometimes $500. So that's another thing to think about every year at this time because this is power price rise season. It's tax season in June, power price rise season in July, and for some people it's also, like I said, it's health insurance season. Also, if you turn 31 in the last year, for example, you need to get a health insurance policy by the 30th of June if you want to avoid a thing called the lifetime health cover loading, which again is something that you will have to pay on top of your premium in future if you get a health insurance policy and you haven't taken it out by the 31st of June. So it's raining money-saving deadlines at the moment, and it is worth just locking in for the next couple of days and making sure that you're not missing any of these key money-saving deadlines.
Wow. Okay. There was about 3 things that I didn't know about then, so thank you for that. No, this is really helpful, and I'd like as much as it's a bit sucky and probably not the way you wanna spend, the next couple of days, but it truly seems like you can spend or save hundreds by just reviewing these things, and I feel like a lot of these, especially things like private health, they're just kinda set and forget in our life, aren't they? Like, this kind of just what it is, but yeah, you can actually get some good deals, so I'm going to take your advice. And for everyone looking for some more information, how can we find you?
Oh, you can find me in a few different places. I'm on the Today Show 4 mornings a week at 8:20 from Tuesday till Friday. I'm also, I'm still a money saving in-house money saving expert at One Big Switch. So we pump out a money saving newsletter every Wednesday to hundreds of thousands of members there. I'm sort of a money saving ambassador at Zift as well as I mentioned ZYFT. But mainly you can find me at Joel Kills Bills on Instagram and TikTok. And that's where I kind of post regular stuff, all with a money saving related theme. And, you'll see some stuff on there about end of financial year. And probably in the next couple of days, you'll see some more stuff too.
Amazing. Yeah, I would hope after all of that goodness you've just dropped that we can find that somewhere on your social media. Amazing. Joel, thank you so much for joining me this morning. Yeah, I'm going to go check out your website after this too. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks, Meg. Happy end of financial year to all those who celebrate. Christmas for accountants, we call it.
Right? I know. It's time to midlife reset, I reckon. Mid-year reset. Let's go. Thanks, Joel.
Have a great week.
You too. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but I'm like, holy shit, I got a lot of stuff to do after this. So go and check out Joel. I literally did a big stalk before we jumped on with him. So I am excited to go and learn more, slash a little bit also overwhelmed. But yeah, I just love the way that he explained all of that. So go and check him out. So we've talked about energetics of money. We've talked about now like real life ways in which you can also save money. And I am excited. I'm going to wrap this up with my, I guess, what am I going to call it? I'm going to wrap this up with my kind of like checklist of like life and how I look after my mind when it comes to money. Um, and also more so because again, like I was talking about Get Rich Lucky Bitch before Joel jumped on, and I would encourage anybody to read that book. It is amazing the way that she speaks about things. There is a lot of, so if you're like a journaler, you will absolutely love the book. But if you like me just wanted the good stuff, okay, you'll definitely get that out of it as well. So my favorite thing that she says in the book is when you go through your transaction history. So when you open up your internet banking or whatever, okay, you can literally feel a type of way about things that you've spent money on. Okay. So let me give you an example. So it's Monday today, obviously. Okay. If I went out on the weekend, I'm looking at the amount of money I spent on drinks on the weekend. I'm looking for the $300 cash that I took out on the weekend. Like all of these things, okay? I'm looking for the Maccas that I ordered on Uber Eats because I was too lazy to get out of bed. Okay. All of these things. Now, as you can probably tell, that's going to make me feel pretty shitful. Okay. I'm not going to feel good about that. I'm not going to feel good about I've put crap in my body, how much I spent over the bar last night. The fact that I've spent $10 to get Uber Eats delivered here, plus, all of these things. So the energy of that is not going to be good. Okay. So again, if you put money as a person in front of you, you're literally saying, I feel really shit about you right now and everything that you stand for and everything that I've spent money on you for. It's not a real good feeling, okay? Whereas if I look at my bank account, okay, and I see my, even and again, okay, I understand that prices are like crazy at the moment, okay? However, I look at mine and I see a $200 Woolies charge, and I'm like, you know what? That is my food for the week. I know I'm going to nourish my body. I know I'm going to feel good, so I feel good about that transaction. Okay, my fuel bill. Okay, again, we're talking all about fuel prices and how we feel about fuel and all of that sort of stuff. Okay, however, again, I get to drive myself around to see my clients, to see my family, see my friends, go to appointments, go and get my hair done. Okay, all of these things. So totally different energy in which I am, working through my bank account. So if you read Rhonda Byrne's The Magic, she will tell you to be grateful for bills and be grateful for the fact that you've got the money to spend on those bills. And then Denise, oh God, I can't remember. It's going to come back to me. Denise Duffield something. So Get Rich Lucky Bitch. Okay. So there are two books that I'm going to recommend for you to read because they just changed the whole way I thought about, doing things. Okay. So that is the two kind of ways in which I just flipped my brain around to obviously be grateful for the money that I have to pay the bills that I've got, um, and also to limit the amount of shit that I buy. And yes, Denise Duffield Thomas. Thank you, Jem. Get Rich Lucky Bitch, Denise Duffield Thomas. It's a great book. And then The Magic by Rhonda Byrne. Okay, great reads. Okay, it changes the way that you sit with money. Okay, so go through your bank transactions and don't avoid it. Again, imagine being somebody that you just avoid. You're like, okay, you're not like, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to avoid you actually at all costs because I don't like you. You don't make me feel good when I look at you, when I think about you. Like, imagine saying that to someone, okay? Ew, icky, icky, icky. Okay. Now, I'm glad that we got to talk about money saving tips that are more than just like, um, yeah, like don't drink as many coffees of a weekend. Like, because I swear to God, like reducing your coffee intake was like the only thing that we were being told in order to like save money to buy a house. So I'm thrilled that we are moving away from that narrative and that we are actually talking about energetic, but tangible tips on what to do at this time. So yeah, they are my key things. Okay. Gratitude. If you practice gratitude in anything, it is going to bring everything back to you a millionfold. Okay. So gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. And like don't force it. Like you've got to be like, oh, like sit in the juiciness of feeling grateful about all of the things that you have in your life. Okay. As soon as your brain switches to kind of that scarcity, like shit, how am I going to do this? Okay, reframe it. And again, I've had enough examples of this and just random epicness happening in my life. Okay. That I can say this to you because of my experience as opposed to just telling you to believe for no reason. When you actually open yourself up to how things can happen for you in this life, like it is amazing. Okay. It literally, your life can change for the better with one conversation, one DM, one email, one Facebook post. Okay. Look at how many people go on social and then sell a bunch of stuff in their business. Okay. And also look at how many people you can have conversations with that then open up doors for you to start, whatever. You can be in a scroll hole on TikTok and you find one business or one post or whatever that you're just like, wow, that's really changed the way I feel about it. So the more you can open your mind up to being like, this can actually change at any moment. Okay. This gets to actually be like my whole life turnaround moment and it's literally coming and I don't know when. Okay. So sitting in that excited enchantment kind of vibe. And yes, just to reiterate, saying that mum's just popped in. So feel and know you deserve it. Okay. That's actually probably the second biggest piece of advice I can give you in terms of, you know, um, the change in how I feel about money and my relationship with money. We are, and I don't think it's just females, I think this is males as well, is that we have had to do so much work on this worthiness piece. Okay. So I am actually worth it. I deserve to have a lot of money. I deserve to feel rich. I deserve all of these things. Okay. Because again, we kind of take experiences from childhood in order to feel like, or in order to, we have to be a certain way, we have to act a certain way, we have to do a certain thing in order to get what we want, because that's how we would get it as kids, obviously. Whereas now, it's up to us. Okay. We have full control over where our life is, what it's doing, and how we are acting all about it. So, what I love about that is you are literally just one choice away from being in a totally different vibe. Okay. And knowing that you actually deserve all of the good stuff, regardless. Okay. We are phenomenal at guilting ourselves into and out of things. Okay. But when you actually sit and you embody and you actually believe that you deserve all of the good things in life, like it is such a game changer. And I will preach about this forever and ever and ever. I just like, and I still get in the trap all the time. Like, and again, it's also a little bit about who you surround yourself with as to kind of how you feel about yourself when it comes to these things as well, because sometimes it can be really easy for us to not feel like we deserve it because we don't want that kind of, again, that social outcast of the people in our life. judging us or having opinions about us and things. Trust me, I've had to work so much through all of this. Okay. But you come here, and this is in this soul's incarnation, you're one shot at this. Okay. So why not walk through this life actually having a good time and actually enjoying what we're up to and actually doing all of the things you can to change your mindset about things? Because, like, one, you're going to take it into the next life with you, but two, you're going to have a hell of a lot more fun while you're here. And the thing is about, when it comes to I guess our unconscious minds and things that we can say happened to us in childhood, and that's why we do the certain ways, right? We are responsible for our next thought. Okay, we're not under our parents' conditioning anymore. So go in and actually do the subconscious rewiring to remove those limiting beliefs. Okay. And I know they're buzzwords that we throw around in the coaching industry. And I know and I understand, but truly the best value you can get out of a coach like this, who's done like things like NLP, is to remove those limiting beliefs. Okay. Because you just feel like lighter, like you just feel more energized. You just feel like so many different benefits in releasing all of this stuff. Okay. Because it's not like you don't need to carry it. You're not, a copy and pasted version of your parents that you need to, keep their beliefs as you go throughout your life. Like, the whole point of this is to, have new experiences and do new things, and to not live in, the shadow of what's going on previously, right? You actually get to just have the things that you want. And truly, the only thing stopping you, again, are those negative beliefs or limiting beliefs that you have inherited along the way. So I am, like I said, I love money so much. I am absolutely obsessed with how can I become like the richest version of myself, okay? Because I know that with that money, I do great things. For example, I love to be the auntie or the godmother that can spoil the living shit out of my godchildren. Okay. That brings me so much joy. Okay. I love being the person that can afford to take her mum on work trips with her. Okay. For no more than just moral support, and because I need my mum there. Okay. So if I didn't have the money that I have, I wouldn't be able to do those things. Okay. So money is just an amplifier. And it's and I love this argument too, is that does a knife kill somebody, or does the person holding the knife kill somebody? Okay. It's the same as money. You can think that people with money are evil people, but it truly is just an amplifier of what you're already doing. If you're already a shit person and you get money, it's very likely that, that's just going to amplify that type of version of yourself. Whereas if you are a good person, I know the only people listening to this are amazingly good people, imagine what you can do with millions of dollars. Okay. You can spoil your kids. You can donate money to a cause you believe in. You can spoil your parents. You can spoil yourself. You can, you know, afford to take the proverbial foot off your throat in life and just chill out. Okay. So there's all of these cool things that come with knowing that you deserve all of the money in the world. And the only thing stopping you is actually what's going on in your head that you're not super conscious with or not conscious about. And yeah, you just gotta rewire that shit, because we all want to be millionaires in this lifetime. Okay. Feel like the next version of this show is going to be like Millions with Megs. Actually, oh my God, that's such a ring to it. Millions with Megs. Watch this space. Okay. Okay. Thank you for being here with me this morning. I hope you got some really cool things out of Joel. I know I've got a lot to look at right now as well, because, yeah, holy moly. Please have the most amazing Monday, and let's make this a Money Monday. Go and look into the world and see how much money is around you and that you're surrounded with. And yeah, watch it then multiply. Okay. Come back to you a millionfold. Okay. Thank you for being here. And I will see you guys same time, same place tomorrow morning.